You ever have a case where you talk to someone, have a conversation, and the person is coming out of left field? You don't understand what they're talking about? We have something like that in this week's parsha. Very, very hard to understand the conversation between Rachel and Leah. So Leah gets these dudoim, which mean mandrakes, jasmine, that her son Reuven picks for her in the fields, and comes along Rachel and says to Leah, "Can you please give me midudei benech, some of the mandrakes?" Okay. Leah says back to her from this request on the mandrakes, or jasmine, whatever they are, dudoim. She said to her, is it not enough? You took my husband from me. And you also want to take my mandrakes? The mandrakes my son got me? A very, very bizarre discussion. Rachel says, okay, you could be with Yaakov tonight. Well, first of all, what are these mandrakes? So the word's dudaim, and it's like the word dodim. Dodim is love. So this was somehow, in some way, some type of herb that would create love, create connection, fertility, and Rachel couldn't have children. And so now Leah got them, her son brought them, Reuben brought them, so Rachel wants some. All right, seems like a fair request. But Leah's response is very strange. First of all, you basically took my husband from me, which is bizarre because that's the opposite. Yaakov worked for Rachel, and Rachel was the one who gave Leah the secret signs and made this whole thing possible. What do you mean you Rachel took my husband? It's the opposite. Leah was the one who took Rachel, took Yaakov, and Rachel could have married him alone. What does it mean? And then it's bad enough you took my husband. You also want my son's mandrakes? I mean, what is the connection? Very strange. Added to that, it says right before that Rachel was jealous. Okay, Rashi answers that. We'll try to explain a little bit. It says that she was jealous of her sister. How could that be? Tzaddikim. Wait, Rachel is not jealous. So Rashi answers that. We'll try to explain what he means. How he explains it. That she was jealous. Let's understand this. Rachel and Leah are the two pillars of the Jewish people. The other wives are considered the Achorayim, the extension of Rachel and Leah. Rachel and Leah have a certain approach. This approach is the approach of the Jewish people. Two approaches that are very, very different. The Medrash says Rachel took the pelech of shtika. She took the virtue of silence. And all her children were silent. Binyamin knew that Yosef was sold. He didn't say anything. And the great descendant, Esther, she didn't say where she came from. Silence. What does silence mean? Silence means that I'm not pushing out. I'm holding in. I am being very careful of what I do. And that is the trait of a tzaddik gomor, someone who's totally righteous, very careful, not jumping. And that was a trait of Yosef and Binyamin. As one of the four people never sinned. Yosef's called Yosef Tzaddik. That comes from Rachel. And that was what Yaakov saw in the Jewish people. He wanted actually to have what he believed was the tzaddikim gemurim, the full tzaddikim, measured, very exact, coming from Rachel. Leah had a completely different approach. Leah took the pelech of hodah, it says. She took the quality of hodah. Hodah means to thank, but it also means to admit. Why are they the same thing? So Footner says, because when I give you something, so if you think you have everything, you don't say thank you. When a person feels, what am I? Who am I? I admit I'm wrong, then I appreciate what I get. Leah's quality was this expansion. She maybe did things sometimes that seemed a little bit out of line because she was yearning. She made a mistake, but she was yearning. She was thanking, and all her children took the same approach. King David HaMelech, made a mistake, and he was the one who had songs. Yehuda, they all were what's called Balei Tshuva. They were people who had this yearning for Hashem, and sometimes they may have gone out of the line a little bit in their excitement, in their vigor to do what was right. But then they realize, who am I? I'm wrong, and I admit it, and now I thank Hashem. And those people become conduits because they take nothing from themselves. It's harder for a righteous person because he made all the right decisions. A Baal Tshuva has a certain aspect which is easier because he says, well, what am I? Right? And that's why Hashem takes both David and Yehuda, the two tzaddikim. Hashem actually used them to do something that was inappropriate to bring out a line of Mashiach. Why? Because they're not there. I take nothing for myself, right? The word we said many times, the word Yehuda is the name of Hashem, and the letter Dalet, which means poor, I'm nothing. David is Dalet, I'm poor. Dalet means poor. Vav, you give to me, you add to me, and I'm still Dalet, I'm still nothing. So those people are the thanks people. People admit they're wrong, and they have this excitement. What happened here was that the whole idea of the dudoim, these yearning, these mandrakes of love, was the trait of Leah. She wasn't talking about this petty stuff about dudoim. She was saying, you almost took my husband, meaning that my husband wants you, your trait. Your trait was the one. You are exact. You are the balashtika. You're quiet. You measured. And now you want to take my trait too? You don't need my dudaim. You don't need this. This is not what you need. And it was true. She didn't get pregnant because Rachel took the dudaim. You don't need my trait. You are you, and that's what Yaakov loved. What do you need my thing for? That was the dynamic. That's what Rashi says in the beginning. Rachel wasn't jealous of Leah in a petty way. She said she must have merits. Her approach must be superior to mine. She has the children. And Hashem said, no, that's not what it is. And that's what Leah was telling her also. Stick in your lane. What is your greatness? And that's what everyone has to realize. Every person has a special avoda, a special way to serve Hashem that no one else can do. And you may want to expand and learn new things, but who you are in your essence is who you are. You want to bring that out. And it says a person who's jealous wants what someone else has. It says not only do they not get that, they lose what they have themselves. Because it's you. You can't be somebody else. You can be the greatest you can be. And that's what Leah told Rachel. And obviously Rachel, understood it in whatever level. And when she did, because her children became the masters of silence, the tzaddikim gemurim, and Leah's children became the masters of thanks and admitting and the great Balei Tshuva of the Jewish people. All the best.